Hey, it's Karina Reichman, and you are listening to Comes a Time with Oteil Burbridge and Mike Fenoya. If you're digging the podcast, do these guys a favor and review and subscribe. It means a lot. Be sure to follow the pod on social media, YouTube, and if you're joining for bonus episodes and exclusive content, go to patreon.com/comesatimepod and get on the bus. And now, here's Mike and Oteil.
Here we go. Catch up time. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. It's time for Oteil and I to catch up. Comes a time coming at you, folks. We're recording this, after week 1 of the Sphere. And boy,
we just got done with opening week.
So much to talk about, dude. Even before that, too. Like, this can't be all Sphere talk. There's so much cool stuff. You and I have been ships passing in the night lately. So it's good to catch up. And
you've been running hard, dude.
Nonstop. You too, dude. You too. I'm seeing.
No, my social media presence makes it look like I am.
Well, perception is reality. I'm like, oh, there he is with Phil. There he is.
Yeah,
in
the
Northern
last couple
Cali.
of weeks, I have been. It's been at a leisurely pace. Like when I get there, I sit. So it doesn't feel like one-nighters. Like I'm all like, oh, man, I'm not doing a lot because we're not doing any one-nighters. All our dates are in the exact same spot, and I'm not jumping in the bus or the plane right off the stage to drive to the next place.
And which, knowing you and knowing our talks on travel, I mean, that's kind of a dream, right? I mean, being able to just sit and get situated and let your stomach get situated and your bones and all of it, all the intangibles get tangible.
The gym. So I'm basically at the same hotel every day until the kids come.
Mm-hmm.
When they come for a month, we get a VRBO and it'll be the same, but I'm this every night. You could get into a routine. So when you can get into a routine with your eating and you're working out and you're sleeping, guess what? You're not out of your fucking mind. Sorry, Nigel. Wow.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Yeah, it's like you don't need backline.
Yeah, really. Yeah, or back pills, for that matter.
Yes. But nobody has that, so y'all go check out Backline because believe me, you're gonna need it.
Yeah, get centered, get together. It's weird. Like I went out that week. I went to see Fish at the Sphere. I flew. Dude, those coast to coast flights are brutal. And the way back west to east, you legit ruin you lose a whole calendar day.
Yeah.
Well, you lose because the flight
change.
is shorter, but time change. And then you get back and it's just you lose a whole entire. Normally it's a Monday for me when I'm, or a Sunday, I guess. But this time when I was coming back from Sphere, it was oh my God, man, I got to get ready. So I'm leaving Friday morning for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Vegas, then flying home Monday. I'm doing Friday, Saturday, Fish, and then I'm going to AEW Sunday night. I'm sorry, Friday, Saturday, Dead, AEW Sunday. So yeah, it's going to be great. I know never miss a Sunday show, but I kind of have to. So
AEW is awesome. I've been rocking their t-shirt.
Yeah, I figured you'd be excited about that. You're going to be in your head going, I wonder how AEW is. But
I know.
So I'm excited. Really excited.
It's going to be so much fun, man. The whole the Dead Forever experience is really something. They're going to open it up for us one morning so we could take the kids before everybody gets here.
Nice.
Because I have to really shout out the Deadheads. I went at 10:30 in the morning. I think it was Friday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking, everybody partied so hard last night. They're not going to be up. And, man, it was packed. Well, not packed, but I needed one extra bodyguard. Although, shout out to JK because he handled that stuff 360.
Yeah.
I was surrounded on all sides. So I couldn't really linger the way I wanted to. But it's set up really, really well. It is not just like a cash grab.
Okay.
Where they're just selling you stuff everywhere. There's stuff to buy, and you are going to want to buy it, and I'm going to go buy some. but it is more set up just for the whole experience. You're talking 60 years of American history, of music history,
Yeah.
of rock and roll history, of just specifically the Grateful Dead cult history,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
all really I mean, how many cults like reverse influenced America and the world? Like
Right.
modern ones,
Right. No,
right?
you're right.
Where it overflowed fully back into the culture.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't
That's
know. I would say maybe like certain like, and not comparing it in
McDonald's
size.
or something,
Right. Yeah. Well,
but stuff
I'll think of
without big
good ones.
corporate money behind
Think a
it.
good
So
one.
it's,
Like, yeah, I'd say even like not to that scale, but like New York, like graffiti art and street art and stuff,
yes,
maybe, you know?
hip hop, hip
Yes.
hop, we
Hip
could
hop.
say is like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Skateboarding, certain things that like started off as kind of like, how long is this gonna last? And then it became
it's
massive.
it's completely like ubiquitous in the culture. Like nobody thinks anything of seeing skateboarders
Right.
anymore. You know, they're like, "Oh, get off my lawn, you crazy kids." You know, that's like how it was in the beginning.
Right. Yeah.
Like, who are these rapscallions? You know, but but now it's kind of interesting, and to have started back that far to
Yeah.
1965 when I was 1 years old. So
Yep.
like me walking through there, I see my whole life. Like, oh, in 1972, I was 6. Look at Bob. You know, like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Two buses going through Europe and yeah, like it's really wild. And you know, I was thinking
Yeah.
about it the other day. Traffic has been beyond bad lately. So
Oh,
I've
wait, in
been
your situation, it's
yeah, well,
really
when
bad.
95 explodes, dude, an 8,000 gallon petroleum truck caught on fire, crashed with an 18 wheeler under a bridge and melted the bridge, melted the highway, heading
Oh,
southbound to Manhattan, probably like 40 minutes outside the city. And
oh.
it literally sent all of the traffic that could take. So there's two highways in
Man, did
Connecticut,
anybody
Westchester.
die?
No
Thank
injuries at all.
God.
Thank God.
Thank
But
God.
but I'm sure there were quite a few heart attacks in traffic because of every single car in on 95 going from like that artery from like New York to Boston uh was closed
Oh,
for like days and days and days. And then there's another highway in Connecticut called the Merritt Parkway. It turns into the Hutchinson in Westchester. They both go in and out of the city, but only cars can go on it, no trucks. So the all the trucks, 18 wheelers had to take like Route 1 and like little main roads.
dude.
So a ride that normally takes me like an hour to get to the city took 3. So I've just been sitting in the car listening to lots of podcasts. I want to shout out good old Grateful Dead cast lately. It's been my lifesaver. Like really,
Getting you through the day.
50 years.
Amen.
It's a 50-year anniversary of Mars Hotel, and they've been going song by
Nice.
song by song, and it's like it lined up
Mm,
perfect because like I want to hear about your time with Phil because I listened to this whole episode on Unbroken Chain. But what I
yeah.
wanted to say was it got me thinking about Bob Weir takes a walk on New Year's Eve by the music store that Garcia was teaching at. Garcia's
Yeah.
students didn't show up because it was New Year's Eve, and they go, "Hey, you want to start a band? You want to play together?" And that was the beginning of this. And
Yeah.
it's like if that didn't happen, it's just so amazing
If a
how
student had showed up, the whole thing
exactly.
doesn't happen.
Yeah, if Jerry goes, "Oh yeah, it's New Year's Eve," like no one's gonna show, and he stayed home, none of this maybe would have happened. Like who knows, dude? And it's just so apropos that the lyrics, you know, like see here how everything leads up to this day. Like it's so true. Like it's just if they
I think
didn't,
it's orchestrated.
of
Because
course, yeah,
remember when I ran into Trey at the hotel in LA where we were staying, um, we were talking about hitting 60, because I think we're both 60 this year. And I said, kind of taking a risk, um, you know, when you look back, way back over like how everything started to right now, and you see how the timing of every little piece led up to now, and it feels to me like it's orchestrated. And he was like, exactly, dude, I feel the exact same way. And I thought, we're musicians. We know orchestration when we see it.
Right.
You're a
Yeah.
comic. You
Yeah.
know setups when you see it. You're like, hey, that was a setup for this, which was a setup for that, which was the setup for that, which, like what?
Yeah. And there's your set. Yeah.
And there's your set. I mean, I'm not.
It's true. It's true. It really is. And it's just, and look at the size and the scope and somehow the sphere and the circularity of it all and the
Dude, when
fish,
Jess
the
sent me this
dead.
picture, okay, so it's like final tour, band's over. All right, so in my mind, totally in the mode of just going hard on Oteil and Friends.
Right.
Right, we're booking this thing, we're doing it. This is how I'm going to provide for my family. It's cool. I'm not going to worry about it. I've done this before. We're going forward, right? Then all of a sudden, blam, I guess the band's not over. We're going to do the biggest thing we've ever done ever
Yeah.
at the Sphere. And then Jess sends me this picture. A couple of people sent me a picture where it's like me, the whole Sphere is basically me in this nebula.
Oh,
and
yeah?
I'm like, what the like, what's going on right now? Just like, what? So I think, when I look back on this 10, 20 years from now, I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, because I see this was a setup for the aliens, which I actually called before we went into the Sphere, because everything about the aliens now is orbs.
Yeah.
And they keep, when they see like the new spaceships, it's like a cube inside a sphere or a pyramid inside a sphere.
Yeah.
And so then, after watching the whole video package and, the thing, you're looking at San Francisco and then it pulls back from Haight Street or whatever that street the band house is on. And then all of a sudden it starts going up and it leaves the plant. That's like the first thing we watch. And I was like, we're all sitting up there in the 200s.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been telling all my friends this is an op getting everybody ready for the aliens. It was like crickets.
Of course.
Nobody wanted to say it. I was like, you ain't fooling me, dude.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Come on.
I want to ask you a specific about that. Were you sitting when you were sitting in the 200s? Were you right below the soundboard, right below the board, like where the all the visuals are
well, I didn't
constructed
know.
from?
I might have been because I didn't know. They just said they just took us upstairs and sat us in these seats.
Mm.
It said, "Hey, we're gonna watch." And our I don't think our seat haptics were connected, so we didn't get the rumbling.
Yeah.
But you still felt, as the whole perspective tilts,
Yep.
you feel like you're going to follow your seat a little bit.
Yep.
And the perspective where we are, where your full field of vision is taken up. It was an experience. We didn't have the music, but it was bananas. I would love to. I mean, it's been a long time thing of mine. I would love to be able to sit in the audience for one of my shows.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
to be able to astral travel, I guess.
Yeah. That's pretty powerful. Yeah.
Be able to leave my body. But
I know during Dead Ahead we had the chance to but you weren't on stage. But right. Yeah.
I want to hear it when I'm playing.
I mean, dude, one of these days you should be able to. I mean,
no, actually with holograms and AI, I could theoretically, like, they could leave me on stage so everybody could watch me.
Yeah.
And I could go out in the audience with a wireless
just
rig
sit
and
down
sit at the board and just jam out.
You're just in line getting a pretzel, like
or haranguing the soundman. Derek, turn me up, bro. Turn me up.
Yeah, you're tapping him on the shoulder. Turn me up, man.
More bass. So one day, maybe I could do it at the Sphere. That would be the ultimate place to friggin' do it, man.
Why not at this point, man? I do feel, and I'm definitely, look, I haven't been there yet. I'm so excited for this weekend. But in watching and kind of listening to every interview that Trey gave about Fish at the Sphere and people comparing, and you can't help but read what people are writing and stuff like that. It seems like the Dead is leaning way more into spinning everybody out and like really kind of like, whoo, there were some moments where it looked like an episode, like I was in like
Dude,
a level of Mario Kart or something where it's like that there's like a
yeah.
rainbow bridge going through
Oh yeah.
space and it's like,
To me, that was freaking some people out that we were with. And they were like, okay, I think that might be going on too long. I was like, if you ride motorcycles, this is the shit. It's like a motorcycle ride through outer space with all the
yeah,
cool curves. I
yeah.
was like, I could do this for an hour. Easy.
Dude,
You know,
If Eric could put up Mario Kart right now, it's a video game, Oteil, where it's just like literally that rainbow bridge through space. And it's
yes.
like, as a kid, I used to like a habit of my, well, not a habit, a fun thing I would do is just get high as shit and play that until I fell asleep at night. But I'd go to bed. You know, when you stare at something in the dark long enough and then you close your
Yeah.
eyes, you see it. So
Yes.
when I saw pictures of that, it like hit a synapse in my, it like unlocked a memory, and I was like, whoa. But I do think that these visuals are leaning way more into kind of like rocking the boat of,
Well,
you know
I
what I
will
mean?
say
Like,
this. There are people, and of course, they are biased, and I'm biased. But we have people on the team that were at all three Sphere shows, and they were like, ours is definitely the best. You know, I
yeah,
think partially, and you can't make a value judgment like that. Like, I'm not saying that ours is the best, but I think some of what can account for that is the fact that that video team is getting better and better at
right.
doing it
Yeah,
over time, as they will while we're there. Like, we should see it. I'm convinced we will see it get better over the length of time that we're there.
sure.
But also with the Grateful Dead, you have 60 years of iconography
That's it.
to
That's it.
plumb. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, there's just how many bands have that? U2 doesn't have that.
No,
Like,
no.
if Fish doesn't have that, there's bands older than them that don't have that.
And it would not
But
be in Fish's world to put the Fish, actually I'm wearing the shirt now, right? Like it would be weird if Fish had this logo like floating around the back of the Sphere, because they've never done that. Like that's not a thing that they would do, you know what I mean? So
yes,
this is kind of to me like Baby Bear's
yes,
porridge in a way, where it's like everybody's got an opinion based on what it isn't versus what it, you know, like
yes,
U2 was number one, right? Like they were the first
yeah,
show. They did 40 nights, the exact same visuals, the exact same set.
yeah,
Okay, that porridge is too cold. Okay. Like Fish, 4 nights, 4 completely unique things. For they didn't want to be literal. They said
yes,
that. Like if a song was called Leaves, they didn't want
yeah,
leaves. They wanted it to be literal, and you know, like so that's your second bowl of porridge, right? Where the
yeah,
Dead is Ship of Fools had a ship, right?
yeah.
US Blues had Uncle Sam riding the hog, you know, like there's certain literal things, but it's, you can
Although
also,
that Uncle Sam will get used for other songs too,
exactly.
you
And that's
know,
the thing
so it
where,
won't be so literal in some cases.
right, of course. But I think it's good that there's that literal sense to it too, because you can kind
Yeah,
of, I wanted a little bit of that with Fish until I saw it. And then I'm like, I'm happy with anything that this is. In all honesty, it's
it
just,
is, because there's so many things that are just like, we have this one, and we were asking. I heard someone ask, "Is that a drone or a helicopter?" It was taken from a helicopter, so it's just flying over the water. I think it might be Hawaii. I'm not even sure exactly where, but it's flying over the water towards the shore,
uh,
and it's just so beautiful. I actually just did that in a helicopter in Costa Rica. Um, and so that feeling, it was just like, whoa.
yeah,
There's some things that, and there's one where it shouldn't feel like you're getting rained on, but it starts raining, and you look up and it's coming down at you, but obviously, so if you look across from you, if I look at someone, I'm not seeing raindrops.
right.
But if you look up, you really do feel like you're getting rained on.
Oh, I can't wait to see
It's
that. That's
weird, man.
super exciting.
It's
That
so cool. There's just so many like IMAXy
there's so many options.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool, man.
And how
And they had this
hilarious.
one kaleidoscope thing that was like a spinning kaleidoscope, which if the top of it was the dead centered
Yeah.
circle at the top of the sphere. And if you looked at it, I swear, like that was the one thing. Well, that and another thing really felt like you truly, truly needed zero acid.
Right.
Like I was like, if I stare at this too long, it's gonna make me have a flashback.
Yeah. Yeah.
It felt very, very acidy all by itself. I was like,
Well,
whoa.
this is a thing that like our bodies aren't used to experiencing because I
Yeah,
mean, no one has been in a situation like this where I mean, pristine sound, right? Different elements of like heights versus not heights. I mean, you know, people are traveling there, your body's going through whatever. Is it dehydrated? Are you on drugs? Are you, you know, whatever? And then the music, the visuals, all of it at once, it's a lot. And it's a thing where
yeah,
a lot of people I talk to who are kind of like your, you know, what would you call them? Your casual concert goers, I guess, right?
yeah.
When I go, I went to the Sphere. They're like, of course you did. And then they're like, did you take acid or anything? And I'm like, no, you don't need it. The place is acid. Like when
It
you do
is.
acid and when you feel like every hair on your whole body standing up at attention, that's how I felt the entire time at Fish. And I
Well, when you
wasn't on
think about
anything.
it, like the sphere, when we talk about altered states, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, what's more altering your state than something taking up your complete field of vision and
Right.
tricking you?
Yep.
I mean, that's the purest definite, it's one of the purest definitions of an altered state. You really don't need it, folks. You
No.
really do not need between the jams and music itself and all the sound vibrations floating the way they are and the visual vibrations being transmitted the way that I can't think of a more altered state
Yeah. Yeah.
other than maybe childbirth. You know,
Scuba diving,
like
perhaps scuba
war.
diving or
Yeah.
like outer space or
Yes.
something like that.
Or being
Right.
in outer space. It's the
Yeah.
same. Like you
Yeah.
don't need it. I swear I haven't done the first bit of it on any of those nights. And I've had the trippiest experience. Like, and I'm not even looking at it. I'm looking at other people experiencing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's such a different concert experience for me where I'm not the thing that everybody's looking at.
You must
And
love
I
that.
and I know what's going to happen before it happens and I'm like, "Oh man, here it comes. You guys are back." And then you see them pop and you're like, "It's great. It's like so cool." It's
Dude,
the coolest.
I was so blown away and so proud of the visual. Like shout out to everybody that's working on your crew,
Man,
dude. They
dude,
to
that
turn
team.
that orb into the rhombus that is Cornell. Like how to somehow put like right angles on the visuals. Like that's the first time I think I saw like right angles. Like I mean that. Like
Well,
fish.
and the all the passes, this you're gonna love. But when you're there, the of all the passes and stuff, tickets, and that's all Jay Blakesberg's
So
collection.
cool, dude. So cool.
Um, the right angles are hard. Like I think the last frontier of this is gonna be the Escher, the MC Escherization of the experience there, where you're like literally like, okay, I'm not sure what dimension I'm in right
Yeah,
now.
you don't know where it begins or ends.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're doing a little bit of that, honestly, with the passes and stuff, but you know the way Escher art is, like it. I think it's gonna
Some of my
be
favorite.
like you really should. We're gonna recommend you don't drink, that you don't take hallucinogens,
Wear a
because this
helmet.
one's yeah. There's a barf bag in every seat. Like,
Dude, I mean it's yeah, it's super it's disorienting for sure. And I can't wait to be disoriented. I like going into this with suspension of disbelief, I think is the most important thing. And as fans, listen, we're sommeliers of experiences, right? Like that's what Dead and Fish and these people, right? We want it to be the biggest thing, the best thing. We can't help but compare it, blah, blah, blah. It's our
blah blah
nature.
blah. Yeah.
But if you go in going like, this is still better than like, I mean, I just can't wait to get my mind just handed to me by and I know it's Monday. Like they're working on this
Dude,
week's stuff. It's going to
it
change. It's
takes
going to be
a
different.
full terabyte
Oh,
for each video.
that's
And
amazing.
the rendering of it takes 24 hours. So some of the stuff that we were watching was um, going to be higher def by showtime than when we saw it. Because they're like,
Wow.
this is actually still rendering, so this is a little blurry compared to, and it was already clear, but they were like, this is going to be like super high def. And so
Jesus.
then, yeah, and the amount of like, what did they say? The server's like, I forget the number. It's like, it's huge to store all this like after we're gone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they wanted Derek to take. He was like, no, 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 I don't want to take that. Be responsible for like all the content, of
That's a
that.
lot of content, dude. That's a
I
lot of
think if they
content.
do Grateful Dead 60, man, they should do at least one at the Sphere. They should do at least one at the Sphere
I mean, why
because it's
not?
just
Yeah.
such an experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have the best time, man.
Well, I can't wait. I want to ask you, from the audio, from sonic perspective, right? Like playing through the Spheres setup, playing through, everyone talks about how I even listen to Tales. Shout out to Gary and David for covering everything, and Parrish for covering everything. But I heard somebody call in and say, like, if you want to focus on Jeff, you could focus in on Jeff. If you want to focus in on Oteil, you could focus in on Oteil.
Yeah,
Is it from your perspective? Are you hearing it clearer than ever? Is it like a completely unique thing to you? Like,
surprise you, but in theory, it's exactly the same for me because I have inner ear monitors which seal everything out.
yeah,
The completely unique thing about it is that the slap back, if I were to take my ears out, or like a lot of guys will do one ear
yeah,
so they can hear everything but still hear the audience in the other ear,
uh-huh.
um, you can't do that because when you hit the snare, it goes pop, 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 and it's so loud. So when think of every single note we're playing coming
Doubled.
back out of time.
Oh boy.
Like one of my ears started to slip out, and all of a sudden I was like, in fact, when we were sound checking, we were doing the 11, and we were doing that, where one plays 11 12s and the other one plays 12 11s
Yep.
at
Yep.
the same time. And I got complete because I had one of my ears was loose, and the slapback was so loud. I was like, guys, I can't do it. And it's happened during the show where I'm like, what the hell is happening? It's like, oh, my left ear is coming out a little bit again.
Oh
I would
wow.
not be able to play at all.
Wow.
That's what's
No
unique about it.
kidding.
Yeah, it's so bad that I couldn't even play if I didn't have. So the John and
Jeez.
Bob and Jeff, who don't play with inner ears and don't like to play with inner ears, for them, it's like, I'm sure it was hell at first, you know?
So are they still not playing with inner ears, or are they
Oh
are? They
no,
have to.
they
They
are.
have to.
You
Yeah.
have to. You don't
Yeah.
have any
Yeah. Because I'm
like
like,
good
there's no,
luck.
how are they? Yeah, right, right.
Good luck with that shit.
Wow.
If
I remember seeing
anybody could do it. Wow.
Fishman behind plexiglass, right?
Yeah.
He never did that. I know some drummers do, but and then I asked someone about it, and they said they read an interview that, like, if he hits a snare or a hi-hat, that buffers the kickback like you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they need that. Like, there's like it's kind of like, if you want to play in this room, here's a couple things you need to do that may not be.
You got to contain all, like people were asking us about the amps. Those amps have nothing coming out of them. Zero.
Wow.
They're trying to contain all sound. So drums is the one thing you can't contain.
Right.
So they got
Right.
to put plexiglass around it to just minimize as much as possible. I mean, it's so
Wow.
much louder. The PA is so much louder than what those drums are physically, but drums and I would think trumpets probably project the most of like
Sure.
acoustic instruments.
Yeah,
to I would imagine trumpets would be behind plexiglass too if
I
they were
bet.
playing live. I don't know, but you know.
Now, one of the first things I texted you the morning after the first show, I was like, was it distracting for you? And you're like, no, well, we watched it first.
Yeah.
Still, even though you watched it, was it distracting? I mean, that's
Well,
all going on around you. I mean, it has to be a little, right? I mean,
I would say it's distracting, but I would it's not like it doesn't catch your attention because there's certain things like I love sea turtles. That's our jam down
sure,
here.
yeah,
And there's this big sea turtle that floats from the back of the arena towards the front. So I see it coming before they do.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I love it. I'm like, oh, there's a sea turtle with the lightning bolt in it. I love it, you know? And it's just cool colors. And then there's
yeah,
certain things where like the Millennium Falcon goes into hyperspace,
yeah,
or like the Enterprise goes into warp drive,
yeah.
and the stars start coming at you like this. Like I could see part of that off the stage, so it's just cool. I mean, I guess technically it's a distraction, but it's just something that's cool, and I just sit there and kind of trip out, and I have my little acid moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
The portals behind me, that's where I really have my flashback, is those portals. That stuff is cool, man. That when the skeleton opens his mouth on the motorcycle and then you go into his mouth and then his mouth becomes a portal and then you're in a different part of the multiverse. That all that stuff is
So cool, dude.
it's so cool straight, man. I'm telling you guys, it's so cool straight. Because I think if you're tripping, you can get a little distracted by your trip.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
not that that's bad. I mean, that's why you trip. But this is like, if you want the full thing, you don't want to kind of be distracted from it.
Right.
It is the trip. It's
It is the
such a
trip.
great trip. It's
It,
such a great trip.
I mean, that's the thing. It's almost kind of like, I mean, some people just like you want to take drugs so you're going to get to a place. I wish that people would just know like you get to a place here. No one's not getting, everyone's tripping.
But that's what the sphere is. It's actually great for people that don't trip.
Yes.
Because for people
Yes.
that don't trip, I'm like, that ask you what's tripping like, I'm like, it's like being at the sphere. So then for people that
We
do
finally
trip,
have
I'm
a
like,
frame of reference, dude.
yes, you go like, guys, you take acid so you can feel like you do at the sphere. So just you don't need it this time.
Yeah, yeah. Finally,
Swear
we
to
have
God.
something to say. Like, yeah. Well, you want to know what acid's like? Watch fucking a video. Watch Hell in a Bucket from the Sphere.
Come to the sphere and see Den coming. Then you don't need acid, you know?
My God, dude. It's so great. Backstage and the whole thing. I mean, it's new. It's a brand new space. That's the thing I like about like walking around the lobby and everything too, is just like
Yeah.
everything is set up perfect for the whole experience is like start to finish. Like I was talking to our buddy Chris and about like getting there early, like the whole nine,
Yeah.
like when do you go in? And I'm like, no, we want to be there early to experience the place. Like this
Yeah.
isn't you run in last minute at Nassau Coliseum. Like this is you go in, look around the lobby. There's little Easter eggs and hidden stuff
Yeah.
all over the place, and like
I need
it's
to get in there early and do that because I have not seen that as of yet. But we came in, we went straight to the theater to watch the video package. Then
mm,
we would go straight to the stage to do sound check. We're all backstage, catering, dressing rooms. So I haven't actually been through the lobby. I need to go through there early one day with the kids too, and
oh man, it's
because
so
I want them
sweet.
to experience all that, you know.
Sure. And what's nice is like when you're going up to the second and third level, uh you're inside of the lobby still, right? So it's an open air, like you're going up so you could kind of see everything from various vantage points. So when you're
Yeah,
riding the escalator, you're seeing things you didn't see from down on the floor level,
yeah,
and that's really exciting. Um I'm
into
excited
that.
for okay, so this week I'm going out there and then I'm out there a whole week in June. What I love is that just like with the fish community, the dead community, like there's the dead experience, right? There's Blakesburg exhibit. There's a shakedown going on at the Tuscany Hotel
I
where
got to head
literally
there
like
too.
like the whole hotel is shakedown. So it's instead of doing it outside in 130-degree weather, you go to this hotel and you just go up every floor and check out people's
I see.
stuff.
Now there's a forward-thinking, smart friggin' hotel.
Yes.
Embrace it. Embrace the
Brace it.
culture. Go, come in. Yeah, you're gonna have bazillion people, a bazillion deadheads coming through that shakedown,
Yep.
including me. I'm going, man.
Yeah,
I
we
want to
should
see
go when I'm
that.
out there. I mean, that's the thing I'm
Oh,
stoked about.
that's what we should do. Comes a time live, goes to Shakedown to Tuscany,
Yeah,
has some great
dude.
Italian food. Bada bing.
Little French bread pizza in room 313. Yeah, hilarious. I wonder if there's gonna be like Jerry roll set up and shit like that, like all the food vendors and stuff. It's of course, like that's the thing I'm excited. So I'm out there for a whole week. Normally that sucks, dude, because it's like that doesn't suck. It's just a week alone in a hotel. And it
Yes.
doesn't suck. I'm happy to be
That's
working. You know what I mean? It's like you get
yes.
those hours during the day where you're like, okay, I've been to the gym, I ate. Now what?
Yeah.
I could go literally just like hang out at the dead experience. Like the
Yeah.
whole I'm gonna take that whole everything they have to offer, I'm gonna take in
Yeah.
during that
Me
week
too. Me
just to make
too.
sure that like, and the more
No
this
stone
goes,
unturned.
no
Because
stone
they
unturned, dude.
really, look,
It's a lot to
they
take
put
in a
a
couple days.
lot of time into it. Man, Mickey's exhibit is great. I saw a couple of things that Mickey did. I was like, oh shit, that's about to make me have a flashback. It went like a little portally, a little spinny,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
pulling you in. I was like, damn, Mickey. Um, to see Chloe's stuff there with Jay Blakesberg and Stanley Mouse, that just makes your heart like, man, Chloe was little when I met
yeah,
her. It was fucking 10, sorry, Nigel. It was 10 years ago.
yeah,
You know, what was
yeah.
she, 12, 13?
It's
Like,
amazing.
yeah, I just was
And
like,
Mouse was like the one, like the Mouse iconography is like
I
that's the
mean,
beginning, man.
it's
Kim
just like,
Kelly.
yeah, really. Oh man, sidebar. I got to tell you this before I forget. You can cut this out later and or put it in later or whatever, but it just sprang in my head. Jimmy Rector.
Uh-huh.
So Paul Stamets comes. We're hanging with Paul and Pam Kriska, having a great time. One of the guys, Paul sends me a picture of him and his buddy Chris. He goes, "Me and Chris and Jay Blakesberg used to hang out in the 70s and go see Dead shows. So we were all friends back then, right?" So I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. So then I get back to the Friends and Family Lounge to hang out with Paul and Pam and this guy Chris and his wife and a couple other friends they have. And Chris goes, "Hey man, how about that JR?" I was like, "How do you know JR?" He's like, "Well, we own a bed and breakfast in Marshall, Missouri." And Jimmy Rector's whole family stayed there when they first moved to Marshall, Missouri because
What?
they didn't have a place to live. So he's like, "Yeah, I've been knowing Jimmy Rector and his family." I was just like, wait a minute. I'm staying here with Paul Stamets and Chris and showing me, telling me about him in Bladesburg back in the 70s. And this guy knows Jimmy Rector. I was just like, did
Unbelievable.
somebody dose me? Like, what the hell is going on? What are the folks? Marshall, Missouri has a population of like, I'm thinking it's under 10,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
And
it's
Jimmy was there? Was Jimmy there?
no, but I texted him the
Oh,
picture of us together. And he's
wow,
like, oh,
man.
I was like, what?
That's
How is
amazing.
or is this connected to Blakesburg and Stamets? JR.
Unbelievable. JR.
So I
Jimmy.
was just like, wow,
That's
okay,
incredible, dude. That's
dude.
incredible. Oh
The
my God.
synchronicities, they're like three at a time. They're not one now. It's
Right.
like boom,
Right.
boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. Like what?
I know. I know. Well, and you got to check out now let's dive back a little bit. You went to the Eclipse in Texas, right? We haven't talked since then, really.
That's the
Um,
last time I saw Stamets too.
and that was the last time I was gonna
Zach
say.
Leary
Yeah,
and
Zach. I've been texting back and forth with Zach about like we're kind of like armchair quarterbacking the Monday morning quarterbacking like the sphere stuff.
I love it.
And it's so funny that we're just going, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Like just going back and forth. It's great. But we're gonna try to catch up when I'm out there. Yeah, so I mean the eclipse, you were there and a massive storm kind of rolled right
Dude,
through, huh?
I knew something was going to happen. I told every, and it was funny how my flights were too, because um, I couldn't get the direct flights that I wanted, except for 4 in the morning going. I was going to have to leave my house to get there, and 4 a.m. I was going to have to leave Texas to get back,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I was like, whatever. We're playing the night before the eclipse. So then all this weird stuff starts happening, and I'm getting the feeling now I don't want to be here for the eclipse, right? Because the whole reason I went to the eclipse was because of Rick Doblin and Stamets. Doblin had this big conference in Denver, and he was like, "Hey, can you come play it?" And I was like, "I can't. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
at
it's the
City
one I
Field
spoke at. Yeah,
with
last
Dead
year.
Company, right?"
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So he's like, "Well, this next one's at the eclipse in Texas, where you're gonna be able to see it real." So then I called Ben. I was like, "Make sure do not book any. I want Oteil and Friends has got to play because we got the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John of the psychedelic movement. We got
Yeah.
Stamets, Doblin, Fadiman, Leary,
Yep.
right? Like they're all gonna be there. That's the whole reason I'm coming. And the eclipse, right? So then I'm like, cool, they're gonna be there. All these musicians are gonna be there, right? And I want you to keep track of these numbers, folks. 2, the Psychonauts and all the musicians, bunch of my friends. I'm like, cool, this is gonna be great. Well, then all of a sudden, did you hear this thing about the well, I'll save that for last. Then we find out that CERN is going to fire up the Hadron Collider
Yeah.
while the eclipse happens for some reason.
Yeah, it's interesting timing.
Yeah, like why? Why would that make a difference?
Mhm.
But whatever. Then we find out that that's 3. Then we find out that NASA is going to launch sounding rockets into the shadow of the eclipse. Remember I sent you that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now we were like, well, what are sounding rockets? You just threw that in there like we're supposed to know what the hell that is.
Oh, sounding rockets.
Oh yeah,
So
those
I
sounding
shouldn't send
rockets.
mine off? Okay. All right. Honey, put the sounding rockets away. NASA's got it.
We don't want to
The fuck is
confuse
a
anyone.
sounding rocket?
I still don't know what it is, right? I know that they're launched out of the ocean. Anyway, so, but then this is where it gets really weird. And this is why I wanted to leave. A friend sends me this thing about red heifers. And why would Hamas be mad about red heifers? Because apparently Hamas was pissed off about these red heifers that were sent from America to Israel because they have to be sacrificed when the Messiah comes back, the Messiah, the Jewish Messiah, which was supposedly going to happen at the time of this eclipse.
What?
And I was like, but I hadn't put that together just yet.
Okay.
I was like, okay, well that's weird. And then but they don't have red heifers in Israel. But we have them here. So the fundamentalist Christians here who breed them, sent them, exported them to Israel for
Jeez.
the eclipse, because they were like, well, if the Messiah's going to come back, then the rapture is going to happen. So we want in. So we'll help you,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
they want the rapture.
We want in. Yeah.
Notice that's 6. Psychonauts are all, and guess where all the red heifers are bred?
Texas.
Yep, bingo. And I was like, I need to get the hell out of there.
Florida didn't look so bad at that point.
Yeah, the Psychonauts, all the musicians are there in Texas. CERN, NASA, fundamentalist Jews, fundamentalist Christians. Everybody thinks something major is going to go down at this eclipse.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be with my wife and kids. If whatever is going to happen is going to happen,
right.
I want to be with them.
Sure.
Good, bad, whatever.
Right.
Both. So now I'm really glad my flight's leaving 4 a.m.
The day before.
Because I'm playing the day before. I'm playing the night before. So I'm going to be gone. It's going to happen at 2, right?
Yeah.
So Zach Leary and Paul Stamps are like, why are you leaving? I was like, man, I just got a feeling I should go. They're like, how come you're going to stay around? So then on the plane, which my flight got canceled, but I got on another one. And while I'm in the air, I get the text, I think from Crosby. Right? I get a text from somewhere and it says, the whole Eclipse Festival is being evacuated. It's canceled. Everybody get out. Tornadoes are coming. Hail's coming. And I was like, and I texted Leary. I was like, see why I wanted to leave?
Yeah,
I was just like, man, it was weird. So
I
don't know what everybody thought was going to happen. And I don't know if it happened or not.
Sounding missiles.
And CERN.
Yeah.
CERN is trying to open up a mini black hole. Why was that a more fortuitous time to open up a mini black hole?
Distraction? Does it have something to do with how the entire world was distracted? Like, it was a weird thing that, like, everybody, for once,
all of our attention, you're saying.
Yeah. For once in like, it wasn't Trump, wasn't Biden, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. It was everybody looking up, right? The whole freaking, no matter what, Republican, Democrat, Satanist, Christian, like everyone's looking up for their reasons, right? So no one's paying attention, right? This is when like you kind of crawl behind someone and steal their car because everyone's looking up, you know? So I wonder about that. Like if it's just collective distraction. And everyone's like,
but even on the level of like the double slit experiment, because the whole crazy thing about that experiment is that the particles do something different if we're observing them or as opposed to if we're not.
Okay.
So if you think about that many people observing something, that actually would have an effect on the thing happening.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know in what way, maybe in every different way. All the above.
Well, I wonder if it's the absence of things that are not happening. You know, like it's that whole kind of the equal and opposite thing where it's like, well, if everybody's doing one thing, they're also not. Like, look at COVID, right? Where no ships, no planes, no whatever, all of a sudden animals start coming back in certain places and doing. So it's the absence of us being humans, let animals be animals. So maybe us just, us just staring up or us being distracted is like something where like maybe it freed up a millisecond of like tumult or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just this one thing of like, oh wow, this is what collective consciousness. Yeah, really. You know, why not? Maybe we like sounding missiles. Who knows? But
I think that's the like strongest advertisement for meditation.
Yeah.
It's like, if everybody would just stop.
Dude,
for an hour a day, a lot of good could happen and just fill up that space, you know?